welcome to episode 18 of the Bulls REKAP Podcast. I'm Joe Cowley of the Chicago Sun-Times. You could read me in the Sun-Times sports section. You could follow me on X, Twitter, at @JCowleyHoops. I wouldn't advise it. It's not a fun follow. It may piss you off. Look, I've been around Minnesota now since I met my wife and father-in-law and all the Minnesotans for about 20-some years. And there's a thing called Minnesota nice. I don't know if I believe it or not, but I know this guy has been playing nice lately. So let's bring in Tre Jones, Chicago Bulls guard.
How we doing, Joe?
What's up, buddy?
I'm doing well. How
you doing? Good. So, I mean, Lifetime Fitness and all the pickup games that go on up there in Minneapolis, and I've been a member of the Crosstown one for 20-some years. And I remember it back in the day hearing about – first there was an older brother that was starting as an 8th grader. Tyus. Yeah. He did start as 8th grader, correct?
He did.
At Apple Valley. And then you started when?
I started 9th grade. My 8th grade year, he was a senior. So I was his backup.
You were the backup.
Yeah, I was his backup. But then, 9th grade, I took over the starting reins.
So we heard about the Jones boys for a while, and my middle kid goes to Hopkins. I think anyone from the Minnesota area knows Hopkins is a powerhouse up there. Yeah. How many times did they call the house trying to recruit you guys? Because I know that's what they do.
You're right. They definitely do that. So, funny story, our oldest brother, JD, went to Hopkins his last year of high school.
Okay.
So we've known Coach Novak since, I was probably 3 years old. I've known him. And so he was definitely he came knocking a few times, but there's something about just staying true to, the city we grew up in and playing for our hometown team. And we had, our childhood friends that we grew up playing basketball with and hanging out with and things like that. We just wanted to make the most of that situation.
Did he think he was going to lure you guys over by getting the older brother there?
I think he didn't know, the talent that we had coming.
Gotcha.
Our oldest brother is, he's 14 years older than me, 10 years older than Tyus. So he didn't really know, our full potential that we'd reach. But, we to this day have a good relationship with Coach Novak and, all the basketball heads in Minnesota. You know how it is with those guys there, and everyone kind of stays in touch, and it's a close-knit basketball community.
So the nice thing about you your high school games were a little different because you had some NBA players there. You and I talked about this the other day. There's video of not only probably your nastiest dunk as a high schooler, and it was at Hopkins High School but it was in front of Jamal Crawford, your brother, Tyus, obviously, Jimmy. There's a couple other guys, I think, in the video. What was that like to do that in front of that kind of crowd? And you got up. You said you got a technical after that, which I can't believe you got a technical, but you said you did.
It was crazy. That was just a basketball event that a local group would put on every year, and they would try to match some of the best teams up against each other, and it was an all-day event. And so for myself, I grew up going to those events, watching my brother obviously, but watching some of the top talent around the state compete against each other in this event. And we would always get that primetime game, and it would bring out the best in everybody. And that night my brother and them had the day off or whatever, and so he was able to bring some of his teammates, and obviously he let me know that Jimmy was coming and Jamal Crawford was coming.
Right.
And, just being a big basketball fan that I am, it brought out the best in me. Maybe brought out too much and getting the technical and things like that. But
what did you do technical?
I was running my mouth a little bit.
Okay, I got you.
It was a scrappy team we were playing against, and so I had to let them know a little bit.
Minnesota North, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it was probably got a little chippy.
It did.
I'm guessing they didn't want some guy from Apple Valley checking them. So,
exactly.
Yeah. Not the only Jimmy Butler connection the Jones family has. I'm guessing your brother, and you tell me how this infamous Jimmy Butler practicing worked out. Did Tyus call you and tell you what happened? Because, the stories of it were, and if anyone doesn't know, Jimmy holds out of camp, shows up 4 days into camp, doesn't do anything with the team. All of a sudden, Tibbs says, "All right, we're going to scrimmage," and Jimmy says, "I'm in." And he names the starters, and Jimmy's like, "No, I'm not running with them. I'm running with him, and him." Was Tyus one of the guys that ran with Jimmy, or he was second team?
No, he was on the second team. But
because Jimmy picked the worst players on the team.
Yeah, he picked I think a bunch of the 2-ways and 10-day contracts or Exhibit 10, how you get some of those.
Yeah, G League guys and stuff.
Yeah, from training camp deals and things like that. But I was in college at the time, so.
Did Tyus tell you about it?
He had texted me about it for sure, but I mean, by the time I got to my phone after my practice, Jimmy had already done an interview. There's things already all over the place, so I really didn't even need to hear from my brother. Right. I could just go on ESPN and kind of get the full scoop.
But here's the other part of this. There's another side to this. Your brother wanted to see your first game at Duke. Jimmy got him a private plane. Jimmy was going to fly with him.
Yeah.
So he could make it. And then Jimmy, of course, couldn't make it, but he still gave him the plane and let him come have your brother watch your first Duke game. I mean, that probably had to mean something, right?
No, for sure. Yeah, Jimmy has been, from the moment we met him, he's been amazing to our family. Obviously, he's a really good friend of Tyus's and was a great teammate of his. But he's been, amazing to our family. He's, like you said, he's looked out for Tyus and, helping him get, transportation to my first college game. He's helped support when my mom got breast cancer. Shortly after that period, he supported our family in so many ways and has continued to, just be there as a friend. And, in this business, in this league, you don't always run into people like that, especially, with the success that he's had and things like that. So definitely very thankful for, everything that he's done for our family and both for me and Tyus.
Yeah, I had a chance to see him last week in Miami. When we were in Miami, he had to stop down there. They were off. Golden State was off. And the thing that people just don't understand about Jimmy is the misconception that he's not a good teammate or that he's some kind of, always looking for chaos. And to me, he's one of those guys in the NBA that would give you the shirt off his back if you asked him for it. I mean, I can't say enough about him. Right. So you go to Duke and follow your brother's footsteps. You're there with Zion, and you're there with, Barrett. You play Kobe. Kobe's 1 year. You play him. He gets you guys twice in the regular season, but you get him in the ACC tournament and his ACC tournament run. To you, what was more important, the regular season having two, or Kobe? Are you guys getting that one on Kobe and the big stage?
It's easy for me to say, in the ACC tournament because it led to us winning the ACC tournament. But I think that I want to say they won the regular season ACC that year. So them getting those 2 wins over us, I think propelled them to win that regular season. But, we got them, for the tournament. So, I guess I'll take that, but it never feels good losing, on your home court to your rival. So that definitely was a bummer, but at least we were able to, revenge it in the ACC tournament in Charlotte.
Did you with Kobe, when you saw him, did you because he wasn't heralded coming out of high school. He was a scorer coming out of high school, but no one thought he was gonna, when he first checked in, he'd be a one and done. Did you see something special in those games where you're like, whoa, dude's got some stuff that translates, just because I know what my older brother has and what he does, and this guy has some things too?
Yeah, for sure. I've seen Kobe play since we were the same class. So, 9th grade, 10th grade, he was always on the CP3 team that was really good in our age group. And so I had always seen him play growing up, years before we even faced each other in college. Right. So I knew he had a little something to his game for sure. And then college, obviously, he took it to a whole nother level. And, he did, great things there. His one season with North Carolina. And, I think just being a fan of the game of basketball, just being able to, realize, a player's talent like himself. And I was able to see that early on for sure. And just the way he was able to dominate the game at that level, and coming in not being one of those guys that they talk about as a one and done guy. You almost have to do more than, and he did exactly that, and was able to get his name there into the lottery, and now he's doing amazing things here in Chicago.
Did you check in after your first year? Did you check in and say, what's my value? What, was that a thought?
It definitely crossed my mind, but losing that Elite Eight game definitely left a bitter taste in my mouth. I had grown up a Duke fan, obviously saw my brother go there and win a championship, and so I just felt like there was more for me to accomplish at the college level. I also was dealing with some health things that I had to take care of, and I felt like I wasn't ready to make that jump yet until my body was ready, and I just was ready mentally. I didn't want to close that chapter of my life, because you can't go back to college and experience those things again. So, I thought about it for a little bit, but it didn't take long for me to, know how I really felt. And I felt like, I wanted another season at Duke.
You, when people ask you about,
just
what's up, Vooch?
Trey said I'm his favorite big man ever.
All right.
Yeah. Just saying. That's what I heard.
My favorite big man right there. Checking in.
Well, I guess it is now. Can you put into words Duke, Carolina, what that's like?
It's one of one. It's a one-of-one rivalry. It's definitely, I think, up there for best rivalry in sports. All the fans on both sides go extremely hard for it. You got our students camping out, sleeping in tents, things like that for, over a month. And then you got, their fans. They're just crazy. They're heckling our fans and family walking into the games and things like that. So, there's nothing like that energy that you feel around campus, that you feel in the arena and things like that. So it's definitely crazy.
So when you actually do come out of Duke, then did you have a feel of the draft, how it would go? Were you unhappy with the results, or did you kind of feel like, that's probably where I'm slotted to go, and that's where, you know what I mean? Or did you take it as a slight? Just talking to Io was pissed off. He took it as a slight, remembered all the guards picked in front of him. And what was your mindset with that?
It's definitely I feel like you kind of get pros and cons of it all. You get the feeling that you heard your name called in the NBA draft, you got drafted, you're in the NBA, you're on an NBA team, but then you're sitting there, for myself, to the second round, and you don't realize how long it takes for the second round to roll around and for you to hear your name at that point. So it takes a long time. It was a long night. Obviously, you hear names being called before you that you feel like, why is my name not called if, they're able to go? But, always trusting that God has a plan, and, he was able to put me in a great position there in San Antonio. And I don't think I could have been drafted into a better situation and just learn how to be a professional, go through, their G League program and how they just develop guys and things like that. And so, it was just an amazing situation for myself, and I wouldn't trade, that for being picked, 10 picks earlier or whatever, just because of the situation I was in.
It's funny you said that's the word you used, professional, because DeMar, in talking to him, when he got traded from Toronto, he felt lost. He was devastated, and he thought, well, I'm going to San Antonio, and I'm just going to put in my time, and I'm not going to enjoy it, and I'm just going to get the hell out when I can. And he just talked about how amazing it was as far as what Pop did for him, and basically turning him into not only a professional but a man. And in Toronto, he could be a kid. In San Antonio, he was taught to be a man. What's that climate like with Pop? And there's some people think maybe Pop's overrated as a coach. Maybe time has passed him by. But what's his relationship with as far as coach and player, and just how he embraces guys?
Yeah, he cares so much about you as a person before a player. He cares so much more about you off the court and how you're handling yourself, how you're conducting yourself, and just how you're doing in your day-to-day life. And he meant so much to me. Obviously, he's coached so many people and had so much success on the highest of levels for the game of basketball, and he was able to just build that relationship with me. At this point of his career, it meant so much to me as a person and as a player. But piggybacking off what DeMar was saying, as far as it turned him into a man. I feel the same way, just because they kind of show you what really is important and what you should be focusing on in your day-to-day life. They give you things to think about as a grown man that you might not think about if those people weren't there to plant those seeds in your head. And it's things that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, but you might not think that you have to deal with those things because we're in the NBA or we get paid a certain amount of money. And so I'm definitely very thankful for the time that I was able to spend there in San Antonio, and the relationships that I had, and especially with Coach Pop there. We have a unique relationship, and I'm so grateful for it.
So the trade goes down, and it was kind of you guys were like three guys at limbo. We didn't know if we should actually even introduce ourselves as the media, because hell, we didn't know if you were staying. So what were those? It was like, 3 or 4 days. You guys were just in street clothes and hanging out together. You guys were in a hotel, I'm guessing. They put you up in a hotel. How bizarre was that? And what did that do for your relationship with Zach and Kevin? Obviously you've already had known at least one of them on a teammate basis, but to be in that boat together of, we don't know if it's all of us are staying, one of us is staying, none of us are staying.
Yeah, it was a different position, but I feel like that was my official welcome to the NBA moment. I feel like being in San Antonio and the way that we were treated and everything there. I was there for 4.5 years, had never dealt with any trades.
Were you even ever a rumor or no?
No, not really. I was out of rumors. Free agency was pretty smooth, and me signing my 2-year extension there. And so I never really experienced the business side of the NBA. And so that was my first time, being thrown straight into it, middle of the season. But being able to experience it with Zach, definitely made it a lot easier. He had been part of not a trade before, but signing with a new team and having to reintroduce himself and doing all that stuff. So kind of followed his lead there. He's a professional and a great guy, so it was easy to work with him. And then getting to know Kevin in that short period as well. Obviously, we all were going through the same thing and trying to navigate the new city and the new organization and everything. So we were able to get pretty close with each other just from going through those things together. But the organization was great with us in that time. Obviously, no one really knew what was going on in those couple of days, but everyone was extremely accommodating to us and just helping us in whatever way we needed. So we were very appreciative of that.
So you're kind of buying your time, and Billy kept telling us, I love his point guard skills. And we were kind of like, okay, but when are we going to see him for extended minutes? If you love him, we got to see him. And obviously there was a acclimation period where you guys had to kind of figure out. And, but you don't strike me, and just from what I remember, just from you growing up and hearing about you, you seem to be one of those guys that your game is pretty adaptable pretty quickly. So what was that like as far as where you were the first couple of games and getting minutes, and your role then to obviously some injuries, whether it was Josh, Io for the season with the shoulder surgery, Lonzo now with the setback. Now it's 7 starts for you, 5-2 record. I mean, do you feel like this is as comfortable and this is some of the best, most confident basketball you've been playing since you've been in the NBA?
Yeah, I would definitely say that. Obviously the opportunity has presented itself now, and so it was just about just staying ready and waiting for my name to be called. I knew coming in, obviously there's a lot of guards here, but I also knew that Coach Billy likes to play a lot of guards, and we like to get up and down, and so We will play some guys because of the shape that we have to be in to be able to play and everything like that. So I knew that, I'll be able to get a shot for sure and be able to try to, make an impact on this team in a positive way. I didn't know this would present itself for sure, and I'm very grateful to be in this situation. But yeah, I'm just, thankful for my teammates to be able to help me with this transition and making it smooth. The guys have been real easygoing. Nobody has a big ego. There's not any selfish guys here. Guys have been able to, help me and the other new guys, transition here well, and it's just made it all a lot easier.
I know if Billy Donovan had control of the checkbook, you would already have a check beyond this season, with your contract expiring, just in talking to him and the way he talks about you. Do you think about that this summer and what that's going to mean for you, or are you not a guy that kind of puts the cart in front of the horse?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough not to think about it. I mean, it's part of the job, and it's part of it all. So it's tough to ignore, but I try to do my best to not think about those things. I feel like it kind of takes the joy of the actual game of basketball away from myself when you try to start thinking of it as a job rather than just the sport that we fell in love with. So I feel like just trying to ignore those things and fully throw myself into this moment, and just the group that we're around. I know how rare it is to be around a group like this, and so I just want to make the most of it for the rest of the season and see where we end up after this year. I feel like with the team that we have right now, the way we're playing, the sky's the limit. So we're going to try to continue to, extend the way we're playing and hopefully continue to grow and feel like we're playing the right way at the right time of year. You want to be playing your best basketball towards the end of the season. So that's what we're doing right now. We're going to try to keep climbing up these standings and see where we finish off.
Oh, if Billy had that checkbook, you don't even know. Hey, I'm going to get you out of here. Before I do, we do something called the Interrogation Room. I'm going to put you in there, just kind of fun questions, have fun with them.
Okay.
Whatever comes to your head. This question came up the other day in the locker room, and some of the Chicago guys didn't like it. The last 10 years, better basketball, Minneapolis or Chicago? Players coming out of those cities.
Minneapolis, come on now.
It's not even close. We got the Jones brothers. We got Suggs. We got Holmgren. We got Jericho Sims.
Yeah.
IO, THT. Who do they got? They got nothing.
We got many more.
All right, I got three Minnesota nice questions for you. You just tell me no or Minnesota nice.
Okay.
The Bulls want to bring you back, but at a discount. No, or are you Minnesota nice?
Minnesota nice.
Okay. You get dunked on and shoved by another player.
Oof.
Do you shove him back, or are you Minnesota nice?
I'm gonna have to shove him back on that one.
All right.
We gotta draw the line somewhere.
Right. A sports writer that you've only known for a month doesn't have a room because the Renaissance didn't have it ready. Do you let him crash in your room for a little while? Do you say no, or are you Minnesota nice?
I think that I'm gonna have to say no to that one.
Well, I got my room finally. It took a while, but I finally got my room.
Sorry about that. Hopefully it's not
That's
you.
Right. All right, just some other questions now. You're a general manager. You could start a team. You played with Zion and you played with Wemby.
Oh.
Would you take a healthy? These both guys are healthy and at their peak condition. Wemby or Zion?
That's a tough spot to be in.
That's a good one, though.
It is a good spot.
You probably got to take the unicorn, don't you? I mean, he's a freak of nature.
He is a freak, but they're both unicorns.
That's true. They are.
Like when Zion's healthy, he's doing stuff that no one's really done.
You're right.
So I don't know. I have respect for both of them. I'm gonna have to take a Minnesota nice answer. And
this is not the Minnesota nice part. No. All right, that's fine. Okay. Years from now, your firstborn has come to you. He's got a full offer, but it's the only full offer is to North Carolina. Do you allow him, or do you say no? Or him or her,
I'm going to try to pull some strings on the back end and see if we can get into a different university first. But obviously, it's very historic. So if that's if that's his option, we're going all in.
Last time you and Ty's played one-on-one, who won?
Oh, Honestly, it was probably him.
Okay.
But I think it's starting to even out. We don't play too often anymore just because, competitive juices get flowing and
Right.
we have some flashbacks to our younger days when we'd start getting too physical, but I think it's pretty even now.
All right, last one. The team plane goes down, God forbid, knock on wood, lands on a deserted island.
Okay.
This is just out of the coaching staff and the players. Who is the first eaten? And you can't say Stacey King like Zach LaVine did years ago. And who is the last survivor?
First eaten?
Vooch is slow.
Gonna have to go Vooch.
Your favorite big man.
Favorite big man. He's gonna have to be the sacrifice.
And then who's last survivor?
Last survivor.
All these cats.
Who's like a good nature person? I don't know him too well yet. So I'm gonna go with, let's see. I'm not good at nature. I don't think a lot of these guys are good at nature.
No, I don't think so either.
I'm gonna go with our equipment manager, Dan. I think
that's
the dark
he'll
horse.
figure it out? Okay.
Yeah, I think he'll figure it out.
Trey, thanks a lot, buddy. I appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Joe.
Had fun hanging with your brother.
Yes, for sure. I will. I'll see you soon.
All right. Take care. Tre Jones. He's probably one of the nicest guys I've covered. What you see is what you get. If you believe in Minnesota nice, he kind of is the poster boy for that. So, I was glad he could join us. Playing ridiculous basketball. I think since he started, 15.3 points a game in the last 7 games and like 6.9 assists. He's running with, whoever he's out there with, he's just making guys better. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him this offseason, which brings us perfectly segue right into Kie Island and the weekly rant. So if Tre Jones cannot be signed, it is because of one reason. Well, several reasons, actually. Arturas Karnisovas loves giving contract extensions, but even more so, loves giving the last year of it as a player option. Javon Carter's, I think, $6.9 million next year player option. He's going to pick it up. Why wouldn't he? It's an easy $7 million. That could have gone towards Tre Jones. This one has nothing to do with next year, but again, Patrick Williams, last year, player option. The first guy they did not give a player option to just happened, maybe because they finally learned their lesson after getting battered and bruised with all these player options they were handing out, and that is the that is the Lonzo Ball contract. It's a 2-year deal, which is basically a 1-year deal because it's a team option. They own the last year. But again, when you look at it, Io and Kobe are going into their last years after next season. Josh Giddey's going to get a big blast extension this summer. So if you wanted to keep Tre Jones and you covet what he does, and Billy calls him one of the smartest guards, and that's his quarterback. Billy likes to have an attachment to his point guard, like a coach and quarterback in college level. You can't. It's going to be really difficult. I mean, there could be some moves made and stuff, but then you're going to have to move one of the guards, see what money you take back, hope it's not as much money or it's close enough to make the deal, and then figure out how you're going to squeeze the rest of that money out and hope Tre Jones is not – the rest of the league is not seeing what the Bulls are seeing. So they've kind of put themselves in a corner, but you could say the Bulls have put themselves in a corner in a lot of ways the last 3 years. So, all right, let's go to the list. These are the 5 best Bulls players since Zach LaVine was traded. So Zach was traded, I believe, on February 2nd, Sunday night, after a game in Detroit. I remember because we were at the airport when we got the call. These are the 5 best from 5 to 1, playing the best since Zach LaVine exited stage left. Number 5, Zach Collins. He's down a little bit since Vooch got back and the minutes aren't there, but he was playing some really good ball. Number 4, Modest Buchelis. The Rook, he hit a little bit. He hit a rookie wall a couple times, but I will say this. The last couple games, he's had he's had it back. He's been on one, and you could tell, and he's in a good spirits, and he's feeling more comfortable with stuff. We talked to Billy about him yesterday after the game, Billy Donovan, and after the Houston game. And one of the things Billy mentioned is, yes, he retains stuff, and you're seeing it come on the floor, but it's coming so fast that it's got to become second nature. So it's not like the kid's lost by any means. He is getting things and letting it go on. Number 3, the guy we just had on, Tre Jones. I mean, look at the numbers, flat out balling. Number 2, before the ankle injury, obviously he's supposed to be back soon, Josh Giddey. Giddey's numbers have been ridiculous all around, but the scoring and the three-point shooting have been stellar since Zach's gone. Now, I think a lot of that is because of the number 1 guy, Kobe White. Kobe White has become number 1 problem for the other team, number 1 game planning guy for the other team, and I think that's kind of taken a little tension off Giddey. And so I think you're seeing his numbers go up. But I will say Giddey's also playing much better, with much more confidence, and is playing on both ends of the floor as good as he's done in his career. So that's it. That's the list. I want to thank Tre Jones, Ryan McGuffey, as usual. Tre Jones has been he's as fun as he's been to watch for Bulls fans. It's been as enjoyable to cover. Stellar kids. So until next week, I got next.